morning, everybody. This is Srinivas Rajan at PMC. I've been working with PMC, I think, since 15 years now. And my background is basically in industrial engineering, and my interest is basically anything in supply chain that includes industrial engineering, Lean, Six Sigma, process improvement, productivity improvement, manufacturing. I worked in various industries, primarily in automotive industry. Today, as you know, is basically we're talking about the flow planner. And as you see on the screen, a flow planner basically generates material flow diagram and basically calculates the material handling travel distance, time, and cost. See, that's one of the things which is very important in Lean. That's a total waste in terms of material travel distance or the material movement between stations, between areas, or between plants. I think flow planner is one of the visual aid which helps us to look into all this travel associated with all the process in the process. So again, what you see on your left-hand side is basically a straight flow between showing Euclidean flow lines. That's basically if it's going from a department or a cell or a manufacturing area, you see the straight lines. And in the slide or in the figure in the right-hand side, basically it's showing more the parts or the unit loads going through the aisles. So again, the flow planner, again, one of the big things, one of the interesting things in the flow planner is it automatically calculates the distance and the time. And of course, if you put some dollar amounts on the time, then basically it calculates the cost also. Whereas if you have to traditionally do it in Excel, it's a painstaking exercise. Basically, we need to go into AutoCAD, look into the departments, and then calculate the distance and put it back, take the distance and put it back into Excel and calculate all the time based on the speed and the cost. But the flow planner basically does that. Once we put all this information here, one more thing I forgot to add is that this flow planner sits on AutoCAD. That means it's an accessory, or basically it can read AutoCAD files. So if you say department A is in this corner, department B is in this corner, it automatically calculates the distance either through the straight flow or the aisle flow. As you can see, it can do a relationship planning also. That means if you have product A, product B, product C, and it's going between a lot of departments, it can basically show it on the screen on what you see it on the screen. So you see a lot of red, green, yellow, and blue lines there. That means you have that might be a certain product. The green might be a certain product, blue might be a certain product, and red is a certain product. So as you can see, they're going everywhere in the plant. So that's where flow planner can help us in terms of where exactly do we need. There might be, as I said, in a manufacturing process, there might be common process for the products. Again, it's left to us where we need to locate them. Again, flow results, as you can see on your left-hand top corner, is basically a diagram showing the major traffic. The red lines are basically showing the high congestion, high traffic lanes. The yellow might be the medium traffic lanes. The green are basically your low traffic aisles. And also, other thing is, this helps in calculating the utilization of all your material handling equipment. It might be a forklift, it might be a tugger, or it might be a manual process. So all these reports will be automatically generated now when we do this calculation. So it's been a great help instead of using Excel and we keeping track of every forklift, where it's going, how it's picking, and all that. This flow planner automatically generates the reports, and it's kind of now it's almost in presentation mode. Now all you have to do is then just copy it, put it in a presentation, and you're all set. Layout rearrangement, and one of the things in as you can see, in one of the things which can really help us in creating better layout is now we can do some what if scenarios. Now as you can see from as you had saw in the first slide or initial slides, the product was going from everywhere in the plant. Then we can do some what if scenarios and say, what if department A is moved somewhere closer or moved somewhere else? What happens? So that's one of the key things this program can help us. Now, without making any major changes on the floor, we can do some what if scenarios in the software and see the impact in terms of distance travel, number of materials moved, or basically cost associated with it. The other thing is the future prediction. So once we have a baseline model with the current scenario we're running, we can see and assess what additional things will be required in case my demand for a certain product has increased. Now, will you need more forklift? Will you need more tuggers? So I think that's one of the other things it can help us. Now, if the utilization of certain things are over the saturation limit, then I guess we can add few more tuggers and see what's going to happen. And you can look into your aisles, traffic aisles, to see whether that is causing any congestion there. What I'm going to do now is just go through an example how without getting into the demo, but showing an example how it's been done. Now we're looking at a basic a pump stamping process. Now again, the process involves creating a bore, hole punching, hand finishing, metal cutting, drilling, so on and so forth. So this is a layout. So this AutoCAD, this is basically an AutoCAD layout. We basically get it from the client, or basically client can use if there's an already created AutoCAD layout. So in the bottom right hand corner you can see the shipping there, and you have a lot of departments. You have the hole punch, the metal cutting, metal forming, metal stamping, and all this operation. The next, once you have this layout, I think next is basically putting the data into your flow planner. That's something like this. So basically you're creating a part, and for each part you're defining the process. So basically you're saying where does it start, where does it go next, and basically where does it end. Again, it depends. You might have only one product, you might have several products. Again, based on the number of products, each product will get its own process if they're different. Usually it's different. So you include all the product routing, the method, how it's been moved between station to station or department to department. You put in your load times, your unload times, the container sizes, number of parts in the container, all this kind of information for each product. Once you have all these, you're basically making the flow planner to read all this information. So you can see the basically flow planner then calculates it does the calculation to basically looking at how many parts are going between which station or which area, between which manufacturing location. So this is a screenshot of your pump stamping process. So once you say calculate, then you get into kind of results or what if scenarios. Now you can look into some of the, on the top left hand corner you see all the congestion. Again, you can view your results based on your product flow or your material handling flow. or your material handling equipment, and also combination of those. Now you want to look at which of my aisles is the most congested aisle, and you can do a what if scenario and to see, hey, what if I take a detour and move all my forklift through this area and all my tuggers through this area, and you can see those results clearly with the flow planner. So again, another thing is now you can see the utilization of each of your PIB, your tuggers, your forklift, your crane, or any carts. In your bottom left-hand corner, that's basically you're showing your utilization there. So you look at crane, your utilization of your crane, your cart, and your forklift. And also you can break it down into what percentage of the time it's traveling, what percentage of the time it's involved in loading the cart, picking up something, unloading, and basically your idle time. So as we can see from the screen, your blue is basically your idle time, your green is your travel time, and the yellow is basically your load and unload time. And of course we have red where it's now either you can have it into a breakdown or some repair time or setup time or something like that. So clearly you can see your forklift is mostly highly utilized, followed by the cart and basically crane. I mean, a crane is literally idle most of the time. So looking into this, then you can say, well, what can be done to improve either, or you can say what can be done to balance the load between the forklift, cart, and crane. The question comes is now, can we eliminate crane? What can be done in case we eliminate crane? What can be done to shift some of its work to a cart or a forklift? Can it be done? The first question comes: can it be done? If it can be done, then you start the balancing process. And again, then you rerun the results, rerun the scenario, and and take a look at the utilization of all those equipment or your material handling equipment there. Again, as I said, some of the what-if scenarios you can do is take some detour. Again, your flow planner basically takes the shortest path, but sometimes the shortest path might be the congested path. So at that time, at those scenarios, we can force the software to take a detour and to take a different aisle or different path. That can be done easily using the flow planner, easily using the flow planner. And other things to consider is forklift. As I told, the forklift utilization was too high. Can we add something else? Or can we add one more? Or can we kind of balance between the forklift operation and the cart operation? Other things to consider is basically rearranging the layout if possible. Again, if possible, if equipment can be moved, equipment in the sense if the monuments can be moved, or the departments can be put closer to each other, where the travel distance is reduced, the floor planner can basically say, okay, instead of moving total of 21 miles in a shift, by rearranging, now you're just moving an average of 10 miles in a shift. So that's a great travel reduction scenario. So again, scenarios are endless. Again, based on the cost. Sometimes it's very hard to move certain things in the plant. If it's a greenfield plant, I guess now we can start looking into doing something in the AutoCAD and seeing the results of it. But if it's already an established plan, then there's a cost associated with. Again, it's a cost benefit. You need to look at the cost benefit. Now, if you move this department from location X and move it to location Y, and this is the cost, but can the cost be offset by reducing the number of forklifts required? So again, you need to do a cost-benefit analysis to see what that kind of a move is going to be helpful in reducing your total travel time, or that means reducing number of manpower required. Again, to summarize, uh, this is a very visual. I think it's one of the very visual a tool for especially developing layouts in the plant, and also to look at things, to do a what if scenarios. Again, as I said, scenarios can be endless. They can go on and on, but again, each of the scenarios has a cost associated with it, and for each scenario, that again, is a cost benefit analysis. Before we implement certain scenario, we have to do a thorough cost benefit analysis. Again, one of the things take away using the flow planner is, instead of doing all this calculation in Excel, this software can basically do all this in a fraction of a second, in minutes. And also it's very visually to look, and it's very especially when we have to show this presentation to the upper management, they can visually see this, and they can get an idea what we are planning to do.